Well, we have all experienced it. Receiving those emails that are all in cap letters as well as highlighted in red. I don't know about you. When I receive those emails, it takes me back to my elementary school days when I would receive the grades of a test or homework and where all my mistakes were highlighted in red or they were like huge cap letters telling me what I did wrong. I hope I'm not the only one that had that experience because that experience has stayed with me throughout my entire life. Now, it is interesting to note that a decade ago, several psychologists did a study concerning rude emails. And back then, 90% of the people that participated in such study shared that they had received a rude email at least a couple times a week. I bet you that if that study was conducted today in 2020, I would say 100% of the participants would say, yeah, that's a daily basis occurrence for me. So, why are we still receiving these rude emails? I attribute it to, first of all, the polarized world we're living in, and add to it the high level of stress and uncertainty that our lives are revolving around these days. So before I decided to film this session today, I went ahead and did my own research. I contacted 50 people I knew and I sent them a quick note and I said, hey, answer the following question. And the response came back about the question, and the question was, how many times a day do you receive a rude email? And I put zero, one, or more than two. And the majority of the people, like actually 100% of the people, said more than two a day. Can you imagine what that does to you? So there was a recent two studies from University of Illinois that has shown that receiving rude emails actually affects your well-being. It actually takes a toll on your well-being, and it also creates a lingering stress. And the sad thing about it, when I received the response from my 50 contacts, was that they stated the emails came from like coworkers, they even came from vendors, or worse yet, some of them said to me that they came from their own bosses. Can you imagine that? That is mind-boggling to me. So, how can you better manage the situation? You know, it seems that we're going to continue receiving emails, rude emails. So, I have a two-prong approach that I would recommend for you. First, you must respond to the email. Yes, I said it. You must respond to the email, to that rude email. And second of all, you need to figure out how you're going to manage future communications with that individual. The future communications can be digitally, like, a Zoom call. It could be just a phone call. It could be an email, or it could be a face-to-face interaction. So let's start with the first prong, the one of let's address the email that was sent to you. I would say do not respond immediately. Actually, I would recommend for you to hold your response to 1 or 2 days from the day that you received it. I would say that once you read it, set it aside and maybe read it like 2 or 3 times to try to grasp what is the subject matter or what is the context that this individual is trying to share with you through his or her rudeness. Then I would say develop a response that just addresses the question or the issue that the person is highlighting in the email, not the rudeness. It just addresses the issue that the person is dealing with. Then I will set aside your response for 24 hours, get somebody to read it afterwards to see if you're rude or to see that if you're straightforward. And then once you get that okay from that person and you reread it again and you feel comfortable with it, go ahead and send it. So that's the first prong. The second prong, I would say, let's get ready for having that face-to-face or that Zoom call. And in there, I would recommend that you address the situation only one-on-one. Do not have anybody else present. And say to the person, I felt that I received a rude email from you and felt insulted when you sent me the email. Listen to what the person has to say to you. Say, you never know. The person may have had the worst day of his or her life when they send you that email. But just listen, see if they're asking for forgiveness, see if they are basically talking about, I didn't realize it was rude. If they come to that answer to you to say, I didn't realize I was rude, I think it's time then for you to have that honest conversation to say, let me share with you why I thought your email was rude. And you better have examples in terms of it was all caps, so examples it was all highlighted in red or in yellow, whatever examples are, or you used inappropriate wording. You need to have that concrete examples with you. So once you have that conversation with that person, give that person some vetting room and some processing time and say to him or her, hey, let's talk further about it in a couple days to see how you feel about the feedback I gave you. And then I will even conclude that conversation and say, share with me how you feel about the emails I sent to you. How do you feel? How do you view them? Are they being respectful enough? So this make it a two-way streak. So if you're still feeling uncomfortable, it's time then to actually say to the person, I'm feeling uncomfortable about this discussion. I don't feel that we are understanding each other. And say that to the person and have an open and frank discussion. Remember, at the end of the day, this doesn't mean that you have to agree, both of you have to agree, but you do have to respect each other. And at the end of the day, you do not have to become friends, but you have to respect each other so you can continue working together. So I know this is easier said than done. However, we all need to start embracing these difficult conversations because the life that we knew before pandemic, I don't think it's coming back. I think the high level of stress and the high level of uncertainty may continue for a while. So therefore, we need to feel comfortable having these open and honest conversations to better manage rudeness that we may be giving and we may be receiving. Let me know what you think about this topic and how you feel about the tips I gave you here. I welcome the opportunity to connect with you and learn more about you. Send me a message at negotiationunleashed.com, or better yet, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Speaker Elizabeth Suarez, and that way you can see all my business chat sessions. I look forward to connecting. See you next time. Nos vemos.